Okay, so as I was saying, for this week's assignment, you're going to do a goal and an objective, and you're going to write your introduction to your lesson. Okay? These are all things that are going to be on your final lesson plan, which is the final project for this class. Again, no midterm, no final. The lesson plan will serve as your final. It's not going to be that hard to do because you've got everything you need. You're doing stuff that you need to put on it. Okay, this is probably going to be the hardest part because you've actually got to sit down and think about what you're going to do with these children for 50 minutes. Okay, it's great to have a concept. I'm going to teach them about inverting fractions, but now you need to tell us how you're going to do that. Okay, so with that said, let's take a look at number one, the introduction, the module 10. You will have the quiz that I haven't done yet, as usual. But in here, you'll have the IGO TI, which is this is where you turn in your introduction to the lesson, goals and objective paper. Okay, so you're going to write a goal and objective. That's 40% of this assignment. Write one good goal for your lesson. Write one good objective for your lesson. And remember the difference between the two. A goal is something, the overarching thing that you want to accomplish in this lesson. I want students to gain knowledge. I want students to understand. After this, students will know this. Okay? Then the objective is how. My students are going to create this. My students are going to design this. My students are going to do this, whatever. You need to have that word in there. Okay? Then you're going to do the introduction to the lesson, which is 60% of the assignment. You will write an introduction to your lesson explaining what you plan to do, how we present this concept to your or skill to your students. Find resources, both new in addition to the resources you have collected to assist you in this process. If you look at lesson plans from CPALMs, they all have the same, this heading for an introduction. We're going to look at one. It's called teaching phase. How will the teacher present this concept or skill to the students? So we're going to look at a couple of those. Therefore, you should look at these to guide your instruction. You are to write at least 2 paragraphs, which is how many sentences?
6 apiece.
6 apiece, which would be 12. Okay? So, you guys did, this class should have turned in their lesson plan website thing last night. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. So you've already got some resources of lesson plans. One of them should have been from CPALMs. Okay? If you didn't, that's fine.
Okay.
But I said in the thing, I said on the write-up of it, one should be from CPALMs because it's the best place. But depending on what you did, you may not have been able to find something in CPALMs, which is why I wanted you to do stuff in the general education stuff. But let's just take a real quick look at CPALMs again, and then we're going to look at the lesson plan template that you're ultimately going to use. Now, the COE students are going to use TaskStream. The non-COE students, I will have a fillable PDF to put it in. Okay, and we'll talk about that because it's time for the COE students to get TaskStream, if you haven't already. Okay, it's getting to that time. So I hope you hear that, my online students as well. Okay, so you should know how to find lesson plans by now. But we'll go over real quick the standards. And I've been doing the mathematics, geometry, 4th grade. So I'm going to go into mathematics, 4th grade, geometry, and this is the actual standard. We're going to talk about, you're going to have to identify standards and benchmarks and stuff too, but not this time. We'll take a quick look at that, but you're not going to, and that's not that hard. We'll take a quick look at how you identify them and how you do it. So I've got you know, this is a standard I wanna do, whichever one I want. I think there's 3 of them. I'm gonna look at resources, and I'm gonna look at lesson plans. There's 15 lesson plans for me to choose from on this one. So, and all these lesson plans and CPALMs use the same template. They're all gonna be the same as far as, you know, what needs to be put in what slot. For example, angles all around us, we'll take a look at that. Again, it's got a cute name and all that. But it all starts out with the objective, okay? Objective. Students will create. That's a good objective, because they're gonna create something. They can grade that. It's measurable, okay? Students will identify. Same thing. It's measurable. They can grade that. They talked about prior knowledge. You're not gonna be doing a lot of this stuff. What we're gonna go down here is to this one. How will the teacher present the concept or skill to the students? This is what you're gonna be writing on, this part right here, okay? And this is a rather long one, and you're not expected to write all this stuff out, but I want to see a good effort. Guys, this is where, you know, I'm the papa hen, and you're all my little chickens, and I'm kicking you out, okay? I'm kicking you out, and I'm gonna see if what you can do on your own, okay? I know that's, you know, a bad example, but that's basically what's happening here, you know? If you put in a good effort, you'll get your points. I may say some things about it, but if I just see you just blah, 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 you know, I'll take points off. I need you to really think about this, okay? How are you gonna introduce this to your class, okay? So this is a good, you know, again, try to find these things, even if you're on one of those obscure things that are not in CPALMs, and you have to get stuff from the Wild Wild Web, that's fine. They may not have it, teaching phase, how will the teacher present the concepts to students, but they're gonna have an introduction to the lesson, or, you know, what they're gonna do, how they're gonna do it, okay? Any questions on that? Okay, so you know what you need to do, and this is a little tough one, because it's going to take some time for you to think about this. It's not something that you can just jot down unless you really want to know, unless you really know exactly what you want to do. Now, all this stuff, you know, it's like, why the heck would I want to be a teacher when I got to do all this stuff? I got to figure all this stuff out. Guys, for my College of Education students, this is probably your first taste at a lesson plan, all right? And we're taking weeks and weeks and weeks till we finally get to the lesson plan that you're going to turn in at the end of the semester, right? But when you go for another lesson plan, you're going to know what to do. It's not going to take this long. And when you become a teacher, you're going to have these things done like really quick. By the time you get out of FAMU, you're going to know how to make units. You're going to know how to make lessons. It's not going to be a problem at all. This is your first taste of this stuff. So we spoon feed you, baby step. You know, this is what we do, okay? So don't despair that this is some big, long, arduous thing that you're gonna have to do all the time. It is, but with experience comes what? Knowledge, exactly. And you're gonna be able to do these things like really, really quick, okay? All right, so, the lesson plan, what we do in the College of Ed, students will have to get task stream, okay? How many people have task stream that are College of Ed students here? Just one? You don't have it yet, Jordan?
No.
Okay, what's up, man? Okay.
You don't give us no code yet, so I'll waste my money.
No, you're gonna need it, because you need to write your lesson plan, and I have to have the lesson plan done before they're gonna give you any codes, okay? I know Mr. Wagoo is working on doing that, but he has to see that you're in the system too, okay?
Okay.
So you guys have got to get it. You gotta get it within the next couple of weeks. And then 2 weeks from today, I'm gonna check and see who has it, and then, you know, I'm gonna have, you know, start sending emails and CCing the dean and stuff like that, because you have to have it. Okay. Whoops, I changed my password. I know I did. Okay, so TaskStream for the non-education people and for the education people, in case you don't know, it is an assessment program mainly. It's an assessment system. That we use in the College of Education to collect data on our students. However, it's also a learning management tool for students. So you're not buying this just so we can collect data on you. We like to use it for students as well. So you can write lessons in here, you can write units in here, you can write rubrics in here, you can create portfolios in here, you can create websites in here. There's a lot of different things we can do with TaskStream as students. So when you log in, you've got web folios and web pages that are available to you, lessons, units, and rubrics, standards, all kinds of stuff. All this except the TS coordinator and analytics are available to you. Okay, so we'll talk about rubrics another day. We have a lesson builder, a unit builder, and a rubric wizard. What's the difference between a unit and a lesson? Anybody remember? No one? Go ahead.
I say unit is overall, like a kind of like a chapter, and the lesson is more like a specific.
The unit will be the book, and the lessons will be the chapters. That's a good analogy. Okay, very good. So if I'm doing the subject of science, and I'm doing the planets as a unit, and I have 7 lessons for each, I have a lesson for each planet, I would have 7 lessons, right? So that would be a unit of study, is what we call it. So you're gonna do the lessons, so you would go to Lesson Builder, and I've got a quadrillion of them in here that I've done over the years. But I put one in this morning for 4th grade geometry. When I click on this is what it looks like. I actually put some stuff in here already. But all this stuff, because it's in TaskStream, it's very easy to use. So the course numbers, EME 2040, if this was blank, I would just click on it. I would type in EME 2040, hit save and close, and I can always edit these things. I can change things around whenever I want. Hey, if you're on your phone, you shouldn't be. It's phone time's over, okay? The name of the candidate, you put your name in, not mine, course title, grade level. We'll go over all that stuff. The goals, you know, I put in students will learn how to identify 3 different geometric shapes. Okay, I can grade that. The standards and stuff we'll worry about later. And this is actually wrong. Is this a goal or an objective?
That's an objective.
That's an objective. So this is actually wrong. Bad teacher. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to say students will gain in sharps, okay? I've spelled that wrong, let's see what happens. So I've spelled this wrong, oh man. I just click on it and I can fix it. And whenever you save, if this thing was to shut down, your internet went out, As long as you hit that save, it's there. This is not one of those things where, you know, you gotta save it at the end. It's real time. Whenever you're done, it's done, okay? So, the goal is students will gain an understanding of different geometric shapes. That's my goal. Now, my objective down here, this is where I want to put in this. Students will learn how to identify different geometric shapes, and even that's not a really good objective because it says identify. Okay, so I will take the learn how to out, and I will say students will identify 3 different geometric shapes. Okay, because that is measurable. Okay, and boom, I'm done. Okay, so down here, introduction of the lesson, this is where you're gonna put in what you're doing this week. You're gonna type, you're gonna put, for task, for this assignment, you're just gonna put it on a Word document, turn it into Blackboard, put it on your wiki. But once it's on your wiki, you have it, okay? You can copy and paste it into here. So, what have you done thus far that you could put in your intro? What can you do? Can you show them the YouTube video you got? Can you show them the websites you did for them? Yeah, you know, you can put those in there. Say, I'm gonna have them watch this, I'm gonna have them go to this website, look this over, and then we'll be ready to rock, you know? And then we're gonna start doing this. We're gonna start doing worksheets. We're gonna start doing group work. We're gonna start doing whatever you guys choose to do, okay? So you've got resources already in place for this, all right? Again, for my online students and for my students in here, you don't have to put it in TaskStream now. I'm just showing you TaskStream. You don't have, you're just gonna put yours on a Microsoft Word document, turn it into Blackboard and put it on your wiki. We'll do all this later, okay? Now, for my non-education students, you will get this, which is the lesson plan template. And it is a fillable PDF, and you're gonna have to, when we start doing this, I'm not gonna give it to you yet. It's very much the same, course number, course title, level, name of lesson, goals at least one, specific behavior objective at least one. The standards, we'll talk about later. The list of materials, resources, and equipment you might need. Preventative and interventive techniques, which we'll talk about later. Methods, procedures, an attention grabber, and an introduction to the lesson. That's where you'll put the stuff you're doing this weekend, is right in here. Okay, you can copy and paste it right in there. Teacher modeling, direct instruction, critical thinking, independent group work, and then I believe assessment. And then an enrichment activity. So there's a lot of stuff here, but a lot of stuff is just gonna be copied and pasted. Okay, so don't freak out like, oh my God, I got all this stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. But you're gonna be able to do it pretty quick. Because we're getting everything together now to do it, okay? Because I think next week, you're actually gonna make your rubric. You're gonna make a rubric. I'm not sure, I haven't decided yet. But because this is not like a methods class, I'm gonna give you a lot of this stuff. Like, I'm not gonna teach you a whole lot about modeling, although we've talked about it. Guided practice, you know, that's not what this class is about. That's gonna be a methods class you take later on down the road. But some of this, I just want you to be aware of how to find this stuff and just kind of what it means. Okay, a lot of this is gonna be cut and paste. Okay, it'll be easy stuff, but you are gonna have to think about some of these things. All right. Any questions? This is a little bit more involved, so I I know I have one wonderful student here who gets stuff to me, she'll have it done in 15 minutes, I'm hoping she thinks it, she know who she is. But she's spot on, she does it really good, but I hope she thinks about this a little longer, maybe, okay? Maybe not, maybe she got it down pat, that's fine. All right, if there's not any questions, that's it. I will see you, oh, by the way, guys, let me turn this off, you guys got this, good.